Welcome back to the Keiser Report. I'm Max Keiser. Time now to turn to Oliver Morris, who is a Python developer and who is 15 years old. Oliver, welcome to the Keiser Report.
Thank you for having me, Max.
It's great to see you. We saw you up in Dublin at MoneyConf, and we got to meet you. We know that you've been developing MaxCoin for a few years. And I understand it, you, when 8 years old, first saw Keiser Report. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then you started to get into crypto.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, walk me through what were the steps? In other words, okay, you're watching Keiser Report. You're like, okay, this guy Max is like, he's obviously insane, but Stacy seems like she's normal.
Yeah.
So I'll keep watching. And then, oh, crypto, what's that? So then,
doing research.
Yeah. How do you like get into crypto from just what happened at that moment?
So I researched on Bitcoin and understanding of Bitcoin and the blockchain. And then, well, 8 years old, I didn't get too much into it until I was about 11 or 12. But I obviously knew about it back then. And I was only 8. That's when I was doing the gaming, and I was more into gaming and not programming at all. But so from the last 3 or 4 years, I've been into Bitcoin and development. But my way I got into Bitcoin was through Chris Ellis. And I tweeted to him once I saw him on the Keiser Report in 2016, talking about his full node Raspberry Pi project.
That's right. He was very big into getting nodes out there on the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is a
little miniature computer that stores all its memory on a micro SD card.
There's a lot of inputs, outputs, and ports and stuff. Yeah, yeah. It's got all. You can stick your keyboard, Ethernet. You can all. It's all in a little Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, yeah.
Chris Ellis has always been a big name in the space, getting people into crypto. And then you started to learn Python. Was that hard?
So me learning Python, I was programming with another developer and also Chris, and so we were pretty much teaching each other about Python, and I was learning from him the Bitcoin Raspberry Pi and installing Bitcoin, and then I also wrote bash scripts for installing Bitcoin on the Raspberry Pis.
And how much do you watch like YouTube and stuff? Like, is that part of this like self-autodidactic learning process?
I learned Python off YouTube, like loads of different tutorials on Python, the basics, the intermediate, and advanced in Python. And so I just learned from the basics, and then obviously Bitcoin on YouTube is not too much when I was first getting into it in 2014 or 2015, but it's more now. But I was thinking, obviously, writing more videos or teach people about the Bitcoin.
What is Python?
Python is a programming language. It was written in the 90s, and it's a really, really good language. It's got so many different libraries for writing websites, and I do a lot of the Bitcoin Python libraries for writing, like using the Bitcoin blockchain, and you grabbing all the blockchain data from the blocks, so block hash, the Merkle root, the transaction hash, and all the other stuff that's in a block.
There are a number of other coins out there, so-called altcoins. And, of course, MaxCoin is one of them. You're big into the MaxCoin space. We'll talk about that in a second. But tell me about this altcoin market, because it seems like it's a place to kind of experiment, right?
I've kind of written my own coin. Well, I have forked Litecoin before. I didn't launch it or anything like that, and I was just messing around with the main.c++ file, looking at each of the sort of hash Genesis block, the Genesis block, and all the info within that file. So I was experimenting on how a blockchain is created. And I've also written Python code working with the algorithm SHA-256 and SHA-3, and kind of just hashing lines of code, and just released it on my own GitHub.
For people who don't know what GitHub is, tell them?
GitHub is an open source platform for releasing your code, and so it's for free. You can open source your code for the code that you've written to upload, so people can download it or view it online. What's
amazing to me is that up until recently, the whole world of engineering and technology and developing expertise in all this required one to go to university, to study quite diligently, to go into the lab and experiment. But here you are, you're starting at 8, you're now 15, and you're involved with open source. You've got all the information you need on YouTube, and you're programming altcoins, and you're looking at Bitcoin. So you've imagined and built your own world. Do you feel like that, or are you so immersed in it now that it just seems completely normal?
I suppose, yeah, when you speak to other people and they say, what is that? And then you kind of have to try and explain. I mean, you kind of feel how much you actually know, or you kind of, so writing or code, or also about being in university. I would have to go to university to study this, but being homeschooled, I've been able to study it for the last 3 or 4 years and be dedicated. And
right, so on that homeschool point, I was talking to your dad, Simon, and in fact, he recognized that this was a passion of yours, and it would be years before they had it in school.
Yeah.
So he homeschooled you, and you just have immersed yourself in this, and now you are fully dedicated to it. What are the next programs or languages, or what's next for you to learn?
Probably C or C++, so I can get more into actually building on the blockchain with the actual source code of like MaxCoin or Bitcoin and other altcoins, so I can actually understand the actual source code of the blockchain. I understand the actual, like say, Genesis block or the hashing algorithm, and also the